Next on the news.
I would like to be the youngest sister in the world, not the oldest.
We'll meet Sister Frances, who just celebrated her 112th birthday, making her the world's oldest nun. The Holy Father says he's willing to serve as a mediator between Ukraine and Russia to help end the war. President Trump is the first American leader to visit the Abrahamic Family House, an interfaith institution in the United Arab Emirates. Plus this.
The election of Pope Leo XIV has inspired Catholics around the world, including a Brooklyn woman who has cooked up a commemorative sweet treat. I'm Katie Vasquez, and I'll have that story coming up.
I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. A nun from Long Island is now the oldest in the world. Sister Frances Dominici Piscatella celebrated her 112th birthday on, of all days, Easter Sunday. She's seen a lot throughout her long life, but isn't letting the title go to her head. Currents News' Katie Vasquez caught up with the religious sister at the Sisters of St. Dominic Mother House in Amityville, Long Island.
Virgin of virgins, my mother. To you I come.
Not a day passes that Sister Frances Dominici Piscatella doesn't say her prayers.
Of the Word incarnate.
And the Long Island nun has a lot to be grateful for, celebrating her 112th birthday on Easter Sunday.
It feels okay to be 112, but I would, if you really think about it, I would look as though I wanted to be much younger.
Best teaching I ever had.
It's a milestone her friend of 71 years, Sister Frances Daniel Kammer, says she nearly didn't make it to.
She had a terrible brain bleed in 10 years ago, and they thought that she was never going to walk again or talk again, and here she is, walking and talking.
Her room at the Sisters of St. Dominic Mother House in Amityville is filled with birthday cards and balloons, a display that shows how much an impact she's made in the lives of others.
She's loyal, she's faithful, she's prayerful, she's human, she's the best friend you could ever have. Thick or thin, she stays by you.
Sister Frances Dominici now holds the record as the world's oldest nun.
I would like to be the youngest sister in the world, not the oldest.
During the course of her life, Sister Frances has witnessed 19 U.S. presidents, 2 world wars, and 11 popes, including the recent election of Pope Leo XIV.
If you're chosen to be a pope, you must be an intelligent man as well as a good religious.
Sister Frances nearly missed her chance at religious life after losing part of her arm in an accident. Many communities rejected her.
The convent is not a place for handicapped people. You have to work when you go to the convent. It's not a place, it's not a vacation area.
But the Sisters of St. Dominic opened their doors to her with a simple test.
What used to be a big laugh was my group that entered at that time. I said, I'm here because I can open a window.
One of her greatest accomplishments was teaching high school algebra and math for 52 years.
This is not pride, really. Praise God for giving me. I was a good teacher, and I was a very good teacher to students that needed extra help.
You probably get this question a lot, but what's the secret to a long life?
God doesn't want me. I don't know what, there's no secret about it at all. When God wants me, he'll take me. With his confidence.
For now, Sister Frances is making the most of every day she has. In Amityville, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
What an inspiration. Now to the Vatican, where Vatican Secretary of State Pietro Parolin says Pope Leo XIV is taking a step forward in bringing peace to Ukraine. The Holy Father has been very vocal about the need for Russia and Ukraine to end the war and is willing to serve as a mediator, offering the Vatican as a location for future talks. This after Friday's negotiations between the warring countries and Turkey ended after less than 2 hours with no peace in sight. Pope Leo XIV wants this to stop. The Holy Father has been calling for an end to the Russia-Ukraine war, and the Vatican had high hopes for the peace talks in Turkey. But little came out of the first direct talks between Russia and Ukraine in more than 3 years. Their negotiating teams met in Istanbul without the presidents of either country. And President Donald Trump said there would be no progress on peace talks until he meets with Russian President Vladimir Putin. This after President Trump was pictured on the phone to 4 of his key European allies, France, the United Kingdom, Germany, and Poland. The allies said they were convinced they had the support of Trump, not only for a demand for a ceasefire on Monday that was unconditional and lasted 30 days, but also the sanctions that would follow if Russia didn't adhere to that. Instead, Trump, Putin, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky all skipped the Istanbul meeting. Some believe Putin's absence sends a message that the Kremlin is unafraid of sanctions and that the Russian leader had correctly gambled that Trump would not be that angry if some kind of meeting continued in Istanbul, but Putin didn't attend personally or accept the ceasefire. It seems Putin isn't interested in a swift settlement. A senior Ukrainian official says at Friday's meeting, the Russian side introduced new unacceptable demands for a ceasefire to withdraw Ukrainian forces from parts of its own territory. What the two sides did agree to was to exchange 1,000 prisoners of war each, which would be the biggest swap since the war began. Meanwhile, President Trump says he wants to meet with Putin to discuss the war as soon as possible.
I think it's time for us to just do it. I said, they all said Putin was going and Zelensky was going, and I said, if I don't go, I guarantee Putin's not going. And he didn't go, and I understand that, but we're going to get it. We're going to get it done. We got to get it done. 5,000 young people are being killed every single week on average, and we're going to get it done.
Both sides are under pressure from President Trump to end Europe's deadliest conflict since World War II, but there was no immediate announcement on whether talks might resume or when. Pope Leo met with the head of the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church. It was a private audience with the major Archbishop of Kyiv, who expressed his gratitude for the meeting and gifted the Holy Father with a painting entitled Requiem Prayer that depicts the suffering of the Ukrainian people. The Archbishop also thanked the Pope for his words during the Regina Coeli when he called for an authentic, just, and lasting peace and asked for the release of all prisoners and for the return of the children who have been taken away. The Holy Father is affirming the teachings of the Church on marriage and abortion. Pope Leo XIV says that family is founded on the stable union between a man and woman, and that the unborn and the elderly enjoy dignity as God's creatures. He also met with the Vatican Diplomatic Corps and called for reviving multilateral diplomacy and promoting dialogue between religions in the search for peace. The Pope also welcomed the Brothers of the Christian Schools of LaSalle to the Vatican. Current News' Jenna McDermott has more on that meeting.
Before the Brothers of the Christian Schools, founded by LaSalle, the Pope called for creativity facing today's educational challenges.
Anche noi, come San Giovanni Battista della Salle, possiamo fare altrettanti trampolini di lancio per esplorare vie, elaborare strumenti e adottare linguaggi nuovi, con cui continuare a toccare il cuore degli allievi, aiutandoli e spronandoli ad affrontare con coraggio ogni ostacolo, per dare nella vita il meglio di sé, secondo i disegni di Dio.
He said that today's society strongly pushes young people toward isolationism, individualism, relativism, emotional instability, and superficiality. On the other hand, he emphasized that teaching charism of communities like LaSalle is a manifestation of the priestly, prophetic, and royal missions that all baptized people share. Jenna McDermott, Currents News.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the Trump administration's tough immigration policies are not incompatible with the Holy Father's views on the issue.
The Pope is not a political figure. I know he's covered like one, but they're not. They're the earthly head of the Roman Catholic Church. And the Church has strong social doctrine teachings, and I think there is not incompatibility. We too are compassionate towards migrants. I would argue there's nothing compassionate about mass migration. There's nothing compassionate about open borders that allows people to be trafficked here.
The pontiff has been vocal in the past about the mistreatment of migrants. Secretary Rubio and Vice President J.D. Vance are expected to attend the inaugural Mass of the Holy Father on Sunday. A day after the inaugural Mass at St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, the Diocese of Brooklyn will celebrate a special Mass of thanksgiving and prayer for Pope Leo XIV. That's this Monday at noon at the Cathedral Basilica of St. James in downtown Brooklyn. Bishop Brennan will be the principal celebrant and homilist of the Mass. President Trump's first major foreign trip of his second term has wrapped up. Trump has left Abu Dhabi for Washington. His four-day tour took him to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. During his visit to the region, deadly violence flared in the West Bank and Gaza. Israeli strikes killed hundreds in recent days. Before his trip ended, the president visited the Abrahamic Family House in Abu Dhabi, becoming the first American leader to visit the interfaith institution. The complex houses a synagogue, a mosque, and a church connected by a central pavilion. It's intended as a display of interfaith cooperation by the United Arab Emirates. The Diocese of Brooklyn continues to celebrate the new Holy Father. In fact, the new pontificate inspired one Brooklyn Catholic to cook up an idea to pay tribute to him, a sweet treat to honor the shepherd. Currents News' Katie Vasquez has the delicious details from Ditmas Park.
With a little sugar and spice, Talia Cruz is always cooking up delicious desserts. It's a hobby that has turned into her full-time job with her company, Sweet Treats, Good Eats.
I've always liked baking, I feel like, my whole life, especially since I was a kid. I think I was put in the family baker role almost immediately.
When the new Holy Father was announced, she decided to offer a delectable option for Catholics.
So it's a sugar cookie base. So I make the sugar cookies to use whatever shape I really feel the picture fits. Bake those off, and then I ice them, wait about 24 hours before I then screen print them. And then it gives a pretty good finish, and it just looks quite professional.
Talia says it was a moment in history that had to be celebrated.
I thought it was awesome. I was the first American Pope, I heard, so I was excited. Yeah, and I was excited to make the cookies too.
And she hopes others will savor the sweets as much as she enjoys making them.
I feel like it's a good way to honor him. I feel like it's a good way for people to just feel closer to him, or to just, you know, the religion in general, to make their day slightly better.
If you would like a taste of the Pope Leo XIV cookies, you can order your own through her website. In Ditmas Park, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
I have my cookie right here, and I can't wait to try it. Before we go, do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number, 718-517-3122. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us, because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.